What's up, everybody? Ben is here for Odd Chopper, and I am back. College football rolls on week 6. Another full slate of games. We're going to take a handful. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put them together, and we're going to try to hit a college football 3-leg parlay. Is it easy? No. But the payout only takes a couple in the year to be profitable, and that's what we are after right now. I want to welcome you to the channel, though. This is not all we're doing. We've got full breakdowns, picks, analysis, tools. If you like what you see, maybe you're new to this channel, take a couple seconds. We'd love for you to stay. Subscribe. If you like what I'm doing here, hit the like button, goes a long way, really does help me out. It is appreciated. And we need it because last week on this video, no, Auburn infected the whole card. We weren't even close. All three of those games I thought were going to get there, and all three of them did not. The reverse sweep. Doesn't really matter when you bet a parlay, but I did bet them all straight. I had a pretty good day, actually. Those were not it. So pick up the pieces and get it started. We're rolling in right now. First up, Navy. Navy. We're going to the armed forces. Now, let me be clear. Disclaimer. When two service academies play, banana things ensue. It's a 36.5 point total. You've got triple option versus triple option. You have pace that is in the bottom of the, I'm talking outside the top 130 style. So there's weird stuff. Now, that's one piece of it. Let's look to the other piece, the more important piece in my mind. Navy is a good football team. They have destroyed all four opponents. They're 4-0. They've scored more than 38 points in every single game. They are rocking and rolling. Their quarterback, Blake Horvath, remember that name? 9.6 yards per rush attempt on almost 50 carries. 14.5 yards per pass. Now, they don't really throw the ball, but when they do, it is very effective. Navy is awesome. They have so much returning production. They are clearly a unit that is they're playing to their abilities right now. Really, really quality squad. I trust them immensely. I think they're going to continue to score. Air Force, maybe my favorite team in the past couple of years. I bet them all the time. That team is gone. They are awful. They are absolutely broken this year. And this is what happens when you're a service academy, not to make a monologue. You can't recruit and get the transfer portal like a normal team, obviously, because you're an armed forces school. So they had to rebuild from the ground up. They lost all their offensive line. The defense is completely revamped. They have absolutely no answers on offense. They're 1-3 on the year. They only beat Merrimack, which is an FCS school, and they only scored 21 points in that game. They just lost to Wyoming as a 4-point favorite. It's really bad for Air Force. I don't see any way that they can stop Navy, and I don't see any way that they can score a lot of points in this game. The possessions at a premium is by far the best data point if you wanted to back Air Force. It's going to be a slow, methodical game. I really don't think that matters because Navy is just honestly too talented at this point. So I'm going to get things started at 9.5 at -110. That's the number that I wanted. That's the number that we found. Give me Navy to get the job done. First leg of the parlay. I mentioned just before, I do this parlay video every week, but that's not all we're betting. We're betting a ton. And if I was just betting parlays every week, you would see how it's been going. The variance is gigantic. That is why I always say, if you're looking for more, hop in the Discord. Get inside at Tails here. All you do, you go here, you discover insiders. You can find all my bets, and it syncs right into this Discord. As you can see, all types of bets are flowing through. We've got channels, we've got breakdowns, we're asking questions, we're sweating out games. It's fun, it's exciting. It's really a good time, and it's a fun community to be a part of. So if you're interested in that type of thing, if you haven't been to something like this before, here's the information. It's right on the screen. As you can see, very affordable. I wanted it that way. I want as many people in there as possible so we can all work together to make some money and beat the books. Simple as that. The link is below. Come in for the week. Give it a try and see if it's for you. Really, really recommend it. Really happy with the group we have in there. Now, we put Navy on the board, but we need more than that. I think we know that. Scrolling. I almost did put UMass in there. I'm not going to lie, but I spared us. Here we go. So, next game. Scrolling. No. I'm not going to say anything about Auburn, but just the post-win expectancy in the last 2 weeks for them is over 90%, and I lost both of them. Two of my most important bets of the week each week. Very, very painful, but we move on. Ding, ding, ding. USC -8.5 at -112. So, USC, another interesting team, to be honest. I don't honestly know how good they are, but I think this is more short of Minnesota. Let's talk about them. So, they've got their season started. LSU, very impressive, good stuff. Lost to Michigan on the road. Tough game. had their chances. Michigan ultimately was really still able to kind of do what they do, which is just simply run the ball. That's one-dimensional offense, and USC just doesn't have the defensive front yet to stand up to something like that. They rebounded nicely, beat Wisconsin 38-21. USC is a dynamic offense. That is the genesis of this bet because this is about Minnesota. Minnesota, I don't think is any good. They're 2-3. They're 0-2 in the Big Ten. They lost 31-14 at home to Iowa. They are just beating teams that I don't really fear. They lost 27-24 at Michigan. That's a pretty good data point. The game was 24-3, and they did rally, but Michigan is a one-dimensional offense. And I want to go through the quarterbacks that Minnesota has played. They've played 5 games. Started the season against Max Johnson and UNC before he got hurt. Okay, sure. Then you played Rhode Island. No. You played Nevada. No. You played Iowa. Definitely not. And you played Michigan with Orgy. That's basically like a triple option at this point. They don't throw the ball either. So who in that crop is even remotely similar to what USC can do through the air? I would say none of them. Now, there is the caveat. Maybe Minnesota secondary is just good. I have no idea because they haven't been tested. But I look at USC. I look at some of the competition they faced. I feel very confident that they can move the ball. The big question for them is, can they stand up to a power running game? And when you think of Minnesota, that is what I think of. But they have shown, if you look at the early returns this year, it hasn't been that good. You could say it's because Taylor's banged up in that backfield. But Minnesota is not just simply dominating on the ground by any stretch of the imagination. And they really have no other options. We saw what Iowa did to them. I think this is kind of a repeat of that type of game. It's always a little weird when you're on the road here, but 8.5, anything inside 10. I'm going to ride with USC here. I think simply too much talent, and they will be able to exploit Minnesota in a way that not any team on their schedule has. That's just due to competition right now. They have not faced a quarterback with this type of skill set. They've not faced a receiver group with this type of skill set. Give me USC as the second leg of the parlay. Now, it is a little freaky. We got 2 road favorites, but sometimes that's just the way the card falls. And I will mention, before we get to the final game, we're going to be 2 for 2. Get some food. Get ready for late night action. Maybe betting UFC as well. All of it, no matter what you're betting. Bankroll goes a long way. And if you are in a state with Bet365, you can take $5 and put it on one of these games. Win or lose, you're getting 200 in bonus bets. The link is below. It is that simple. It's a great way to have some extra funds. If you're betting parlays like this and you're trying to hit a big plus money ticket, the problem is in between those hits, it's a huge bankroll drainer. We see it all the time. When you're using bonus bets and things like that, obviously it doesn't affect the bankroll. It's all upside. So this is a great way to do it. You have to be 21 plus, 18 Kentucky. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But shout out to Bet365. Worth the minute or two to see if they are in your state. Final game. I'll be honest, I think this is my favorite of the 3. And it's right here. Another spread. All the spreads are very similar. 8.5, 8.5, and 9.5. Georgia Tech at home against Duke. The Dukies. I really like the spot for them. Georgia Tech is a good team. I know they don't look good all the time, but I'm still buying on these Yellow Jackets, and I've been looking and waiting to short Duke. So let's start with Duke. Start with the Blue Devils. 5-0. Very good. Not so fast. Here's who they've beaten. Elon, the Phoenix. Good for them. They beat Northwestern in overtime. They beat UConn by 5 points. They crushed Middle Tennessee State, and they beat UNC by 1 point. UNC's on like their 5th quarterback at this point. Now they hit the road against Georgia Tech. I don't believe in anything that Duke's doing. I think their defensive metrics are very shallow. I think that their offense is not good at all, to be completely honest. I'm not a fan of this team. They're 5-0 in name only. They're 5-0 because they've played an absolutely ridiculous schedule. Georgia Tech is 3-2. They lost by 3 points at Syracuse. They lost by 12 points at Louisville in a game that was absolutely off the rails. Just look at that box score. All sorts of weird stuff happened there. Now, the opening win against Florida State in Ireland doesn't look nearly as good because Florida State isn't any good. Then they beat up on like VMI and whatnot. And they've done some other things. But Georgia Tech has some talent. Haynes King is a talented signal caller. Prolific offense. They've got weapons on the outside. Their defense, I think, is pretty weak. But again, I'm not super worried about that because I don't trust Duke's offense whatsoever. And Georgia Tech has shown themselves, like most teams, to be much stronger at home. And I look at the squad. I look at the competition that they've faced. I feel a whole lot better in knowing who they are. Again, wins over Georgia State and VMI, they're not moving the needle, but they were 20+ point wins. They beat VMI by 50 something. Doesn't really matter. And the Florida State win. But I still look at this team and I look at Haynes King. I feel good. He's got 6 touchdowns and only a lone pick on the year. You've got Haynes in the backfield to complement Haynes King. 1-2 combo in terms of a rushing upside. They have more dynamic playmakers. They have more flexibility. They are the better team. They will show it this week. Georgia Tech by double digits on Saturday. 1, 2, 3, Navy, USC, and Georgia Tech. You put them together, 5.5 to 1. Again, because we're laying some juice here to get some of these numbers. You want to shop it? Always shop it. But you put that in, and that's the beautiful thing about bets like this. Makes up for many, many weeks. You hit that one, takes care of weeks and weeks of giving these lotto tickets a chance. So we're going to roll the dice and see what we got. Again, if you have any questions, all at JazzRaz Bets on Twitter, happy to help, happy to answer anything that I can. And of course, I will be in Discord, dropping bets, sweating plays, having fun all Saturday. I'll see you guys in there. On that note, appreciate everyone tuning in for this video. One of my favorites of the week. Hit the like button on your way out. Let's get it done. Good luck and enjoy. Talk to you next week.